Hello world, and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are asking the question of what makes you so attractive. So I work with several different decks, some attributes, some there's like 3 other decks other than these tarot decks in each of the readings that I work with. I also I'm giving you 2 options here. So this is a pick a card reading. You get to pick the card, number, object, or I kind of put these in order of the elements. So you can pick by your zodiac sign, and I'll tell you what zodiac sign is what in a second. So you use your intuition to figure out which way you're gonna pick. Then I've got the timestamps down below in the description, and I will use my intuition to read the cards for you. So since I have so many different ways to pick, let's just get right into it. Group 1, for this group, I'm just gonna put the objects here first. This is Jasper, and it goes with group 1. For group number 2, this is Caribbean Calcite. Group number 2. For group number 3, we have Jade. That's for group number 3. And for group number 4, this is Septarian Nodule. So if you don't like being put in a box and you like choosing your own way, choose right now. And what I mean by that is I realized after I got these selections together, I picked, I pulled out the decks, and then I chose the objects to go with them. I realized that this looks like fire, this looks like water, this looks like earth, and this looks like air. And so those are related to specific zodiac signs. So what I mean by being put in a box here is for group number 1, if you want to choose with your zodiac sign, these are the air, or these are the fire signs. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, this would be your group. For group number 2, these are the water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. If you want to pick with your zodiac sign, that's your group. For group number 3, we've got Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. If you want to pick with your zodiac sign, that's your group. And for group number 4, we have our air signs. We've got Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So I feel like I've given you a lot of options here, and yeah, you go with the way that you want to pick. I will say, like, if you are a specific sign, but you really are feel called to a different deck or a different, go with your initial thought. But I know that there's a lot of people who like to pick with their signs, so that's how it ended up today. So I will meet you at your reading. Thanks so much for being here. Hello, group 1. Let's talk about what makes you so attractive. So the number 1, this is Brecciated Jasper. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And then our lovely deck, which is Mystical Medleys, which is a fun vintage cartoon deck. So just the between the 2 of them, we've got this red color. It, I just realized that the way I laid out the choices is almost like this is fire. We have fire, earth, water, and air, and all in it. So you kind of pick the fire deck, the fiery deck, the red deck, the bold deck. So if you don't feel like you're bold, or if you're feeling like you're not necessarily yourself and you're being held back a little bit, maybe you do need to be a little bit more bold, because that is your true essence, your true self. There's a lot of action here. Brecciated Jasper is considered a grounding stone. It is associated with your root and sacral chakras. It encourages strength and improves positive energy flow. If you're not feeling that, because I feel like there's a blockage, and that those are the two chakras to help you to work with that positive energy flow to become more like yourself, your true self, your action-oriented, bold self. Because I almost am feeling like there's a little bit of, I don't want to say hiding here, but maybe pulling back. It almost reminds me of there's a meme about, you know, people saying that you're too much, and it's like, well, if I'm too much, go find less. Go find less. So I don't want you to ever have to apologize for who you are and the beautiful qualities that you bring to the table. And I almost feel like you kind of are pulling back and holding back on some of that. So let's have some discussions, shall we? These are some attributes, some archetypes here, and we get for you Messiah and Fool. Messiah, the light attribute, is serving humanity with humility. I think a lot of times that like humility, sometimes we tend to kind of pull back on ourselves a little bit with, you know, because we want to be humble, but that has a tendency there's a balance here between you being humble and you being able to show and be your true and full self. Okay, shadow attribute, exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed. So it might be that in a work situation, you know, when you're in a project, you can take it over. That would be the opposite really of what I'm feeling here. I don't want you to exaggerate it that far to where you're taking everything over and you're being overbearing, but I do want to encourage you to be more of yourself, to put more of yourself out there. I think not only you will benefit because you'll be happier revealing your true and authentic self, but I think that the people around you will be happier as well. Fearless, revealing emotion, helping people laugh through absurdity and hypocrisy. So I do see that, especially when you're picking this deck with this stone. This stone is so beautiful and kind of elegant, but there's like a whimsicalness to this deck that you picked. And then when the Fool comes out, it kind of reminds me of the designer Betsy Johnson. If you're familiar with her work, like she's a fashion designer, like high fashion designer, but the way I would describe her is like a more sophisticated Lisa Frank. Certainly brings in that joy, brings in that whimsicalness, is never like, always is laughing at yourself, but there's never afraid of color, never afraid of being bold and putting yourself out there, but with a sophisticated edge, with a sophisticated twist. I kind of feel like you're somebody who, you know, you don't shop at Walmart. You go to Target, Target type person, that extra, like, you do appreciate like those finer things a little bit, but you're not above having fun. You're not like so sophisticated and stuffy that you're going to, like, you will definitely laugh, and you'll laugh at yourself with others. And the Fool talks about that laughing, that joy, that fun. And I kind of feel like when I was talking about, you know, holding yourself back, you may hold yourself back in certain situations because you're like, oh, you know, I don't want to, you know, break up the seriousness of this or make people, but I think that this, I don't want to say comic relief, but your sense of humor, your relief, your, you know, bringing levity to a situation is very much appreciated. Shadow aspects, using humor to wound rather than to liberate, and denial of your emotional truth. So it would be kind of like masking your emotions, and we don't want to do that. But you know, just because a situation is serious doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the ride, enjoy the, you know, have fun with it, push forward. And so let's see, what else can we show with this 10 of Swords here? We've got the Queen of Wands. I kind of do feel like, you know, maybe you do hold back sometimes because you don't feel like you are with everybody else. And I don't want to say, maybe you don't feel like you fit in, would be a better kind of example. The Queen of Wands, you might feel like people talk about you behind your back. You know, anything that they say though, and I hope that you understand this, especially with the Queen of Wands here and the 10 of Cups, the 10 of Swords would be some sort of gossip, or the way that people see you could really hurt you or take you down. But the Queen of Wands is a remembering that it doesn't matter how people see you, it matters how you see you. That's the most important thing. And when you lead with your heart, you know, we've got the 10 of Cups here, I really feel like, you know, there's so much joy here in this 10 of Cups. There's family connections, connections with the people you work with, and then the happy squirrel too. It just is like an overall reminder of kind of like the joy you bring, and that little bit of wackiness, that little bit of, I think you getting, I want to say out of your comfort zone, but I don't think you're necessarily out of your comfort zone. It's more of the people around you's comfort zone that is kind of keeping you in a box a little bit. But your way of seeing the world, your worldview, your, I think there's definitely a very creative twist in here. That when you are working on a project with other people, when you are working with other people, like, you know, fun and creativity and joy go hand in hand in hand. And again, even if it is a difficult situation, even if it is something that very serious subject that, you know, if you've ever had a difficult job and bringing fun into it, maybe you're cleaning a house or something, but turning on that music and injecting that joy and that dance into the whole situation makes things go by so much faster and easier. And that's who you are. You're the one who brings in those dance moves, those fresh ideas. You're very creative. The Queen of Wands is very creative. I would say, you know, I said that I just remember, or I just realized that the groups I set up is almost the different suits. And this would be the Wands, this would be the fire suit, this would be the creativity and passion suit. And the Fool has many passions. So the only like, I wouldn't say knock on you, but the only like drawback here is maybe that you don't necessarily complete things. You might need some extra help from people too when you get into a project to complete it. But you have beautiful creative ideas that you love to start. You might have a lot of have a lot of projects that you have started and maybe haven't finished. And people are like, well, what about this? Oh, I'm working on that, don't touch it. I'm working on that, don't touch it. But so that might be something here with the 10 of Cups to remember that you need to complete it. Yeah, we've got the 10 of Swords and the 10 of Cups, so 10s. Bring into that completion energy and use the joy that you're suppressing to help bring that in. I love this Queen of Wands here too. If you're watching this video when I upload it, we're going into Leo season. Leo season, you know, is fire energy. Definitely harness the energy of the season that we're going into, because I feel like this is where you're at home. Leo is also with the lions, so it's interesting that we have the double lions here. There's a lot of strength behind the Queen of Wands. I just really see the Queen of Wands as you, and maybe the 10 of Swords is a challenge, and the 10 of Cups is what to look forward to, what to look in the future. This energy of the Fool, like the Fool likes to get into brand new things, and I feel like the happy squirrel is kind of like, oh, and by the way, this happy squirrel is just unique to this particular deck. But look at the sunshine, like we've got sunshine, rainbows, a lot of beautiful and fun energy. It is just as long as you allow it to flow and you're not holding yourself back because of what you think other people's expectations are. And I just want to mention that, like, maybe you do occasionally, I don't want to say freak flag fly, but that's what's popping up. Maybe you do, you know, you have like something fun or goofy that you share. You're flying that freak flag a little bit, and I just mean that in the very purest and funnest sense, but it maybe goes against, you know, it's very creative. It goes against what a lot of people would think out of you, or what people, and it might draw a little bit of jealousy here, and somebody reacts to it in like maybe even a completely unforeseen way, and then it makes you question all of the things that you're doing. I think that you would benefit from not worrying about it. You would benefit because I feel like there's a lot of worry or concern. I do feel like there's a depth of empathy here that you have, probably with this Messiah, because you do have this idea that you want to serve people, you want to serve humanity, and so you kind of approach life a little bit like as in terms of like marketing, where you throw out ideas to people, and then when it comes back and it's not received the way that you thought it was, you question yourself. But you should really be questioning your audience, and maybe you aren't hanging out with the right people, and you don't want to maybe kick these people to the curb because you feel like in some sense like they need you. And that's fine, but just remember, don't let them drag you down with them, because I think that you're somebody who would be susceptible to that, because you do have this idea about helping others and connecting with others and being of service. However, it's not very being of service if you let other people drag you down. But I just think that almost in a business sense, where I was saying that idea of, you know, you floating new ideas, and then it does. Marketing is like that, where you have some ideas and then you float them out there to maybe a test group, and then it comes back and, oh, I need to adjust things. But maybe it's not necessarily you that needs to adjust things. If you're being of service, sometimes the people who are receiving the service don't fully understand what you're doing or what they're getting from you, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, because I don't think it's them. I mean, I don't think it's you. I think it's them and their perceptions of the world, and you should just keep going. Especially, I think that you are somebody who is okay. And I feel like the lions are here to remind you to remain strong, because I think you're somebody who's okay with having people who are not doing the best at the moment around you, because you have that compassion for them. You want to help them. But remember, hurt people. So there's a certain amount of strength that you need, a certain amount of boundaries that you need to protect yourself with, even if it's just like, hey, I'm not going to, you know, you're telling yourself, I'm not going to pick up their worldview. I mean, obviously, because that dragging you down with them helps no one. So you just keep pushing through and believing in yourself. And I feel like there's like this belief in yourself that we need to nurture a little bit more. And hopefully we can do that with these two goddesses. We've got Eris and we've got Persephone. So Eris is the goddess of chaos. And I almost feel like you do thrive very well in chaos. You know, we've got a lot of fire energy here. I feel like you can be pulled in a lot of different directions, and that can be very chaotic to other people, but I feel like to you it kind of nurtures your mind, or like you know, it's like, ooh, I'm excited about this. Ooh, I'm excited about this, especially with all the fire energy and the Fool card, because the Fool has a tendency, like I said earlier, if there's something that I would knock you on, it maybe is not finishing things, and that can cause some chaos. So Eris, when she arrives, we just need to remember that Maybe we need to put some plans out. I know that's not as fun as you would think, but you know, even though we're talking about what makes you attractive and we've got this beautiful chaotic and creative energy, we need to contain it a little bit. We need to move on some action. We need to think of maybe the yeah, we get really excited and inspired in the moment when we have this idea, but how do we hone it to make it a productive idea so that it's not just like we're living in chaos all the time? Or, you know, that might be something that your partner struggles with when you're like, oh, this week I'm excited about this and I am obsessed with whatever it is. And then next week, forget that, I'm obsessed with this new thing, and then obsessed with this new thing. Okay, so there's a little bit of like, you know, I said, yes, be your authentic self, you know, throw that out there, but we're doing it in a sophisticated way. Remember, we're not just being like a child at running down the toy aisle and picking up every single toy. And I think you can have the tendency to do that with Eris. It's inevitable, walls will crumble, time will speed up, and things will fall out of control. The world will seem hectic and unfair right now, but this is just a phase. Prepare for it and persevere. That's all you can do for now. So that's what the description for Eris is. And that's why I'm talking about like containing that energy. I feel like, though, when we have Persephone over here, like she's an amazing container. She juggles so many things. So because she is the goddess of spring, and then she's also the queen of the underworld. If you're going to be two things, like those are two amazing things to be, right? And those are kind of polar opposites. She ends up marrying Hades, who is the king of the god of the underworld. That's how she becomes the goddess of the underworld. But prior to that, she was the princess of spring. So her mother Demeter was the one who controlled all of the seasons and growth. And in fact, her story is, Persephone's story is why we have the seasons. Because Demeter and Persephone made all of the things grow and all of the things beautiful. But then Hades fell in love with her and kidnapped her and brought her to the underworld to live with him. Well, Demeter said nothing grows if Persephone isn't here. So that's why she comes up in spring. She's around spring and summer and then goes to the underworld the rest of the time. But it's how you balance things out and using your I feel like Eris and Persephone are very good together because we've got this chaotic and beautiful energy that can create things, but unless you're able to harness it and balance it and pull it together, you basically just end up with a big blobby mess. And whether that be what you're doing craft-wise, whether that be what you're doing with your finances too. So I just feel like the balance part is really, really important for you and in your personality. And then it says Persephone is the goddess of spring and the queen of the underworld. She represents the duality of darkness and light. Be sure to listen to the dark side while you're allowing your light side to shine even brighter. Interesting that it says that, because I do feel like you personally do need to shine a little bit brighter. There is a duality to everything, and without one side or the other, we cannot possibly grow. So I still feel like there's a lot of growth here for you to really because there's a lot of powerful energy in this reading, and I feel like you know, to really sit on your throne here and be who you truly are. But I don't think you should try too hard. Just remember that this is supposed to be fun. If it wasn't fun, why would we be doing it? And the last card, my loves, is, let's see, what is the last card for our beautiful group number one? We get enter. Yeah, so I feel like you're just really entering into this look at this beautiful garden. You're going through the gates. There's a lot of growth here. Enter into that moment and really appreciate and accept yourself fully for who you are and what you do and what you bring to the table. I feel like, I don't want to say that you're not for everyone. I think that you maybe on one level are a people pleaser and you try to be for everyone, and that can be detrimental to you. So I want you to think about that and how that manifests for you and what is really for you and what you really should do. Just because remember, we've got this 10 of Swords here. Just sometimes people pleasing can really harm us. Because first of all, people don't know what they want, and usually it's the people who are just like are not going to be happy no matter what. So again, back with those boundaries, enter into a new realm or new era for yourself. Open up. I just really feel like this really beautiful opening up happening for you really in the near future when you are your true authentic self. I also feel like you might be somebody who doesn't fully open up for everyone all at once. I think you're somebody who, yes, you again, back with that guardedness a little bit, and I feel like it's only some very lucky and true people who get to see inside your fun and chaotic mind. And I say chaotic in a very positive way. Because there's a lot of, fire is a very chaotic energy, but used in the right way, I have it here on my table for a reason. It can be very productive. We use it to cook food, we use it to harness things, we use it for creation and for production. That's why we need our Persephone to kind of pull everything together to kind of control ourselves, so that we're not in chaos, but we are in this kind of like growth. It's so very natural also, even when we're, it kind of feels like there's a threshold here that we're going through new doors. It's interesting too that we have like this repeated of the rainbow. Like, it's important for you to understand that even when doors are opening for you that you want to cross through, that you want to enter to the other side, that you want to fully become the you that you're capable of becoming, the one that you're kind of hiding from the outside world, the one that you've kind of been holding back on a little bit. Even though it's exciting and inviting and you know that it's going to be beautiful because we've got the rainbows telling us that it is exactly what you want and what you've been praying for and what it needs to be. It can also be a little scary because I do feel like there's a little bit of change here in how you are presenting yourself. And again, go back to these lions and the strength that you are harnessing and needing to push forward here. Change is hard for everyone, even when it's for somebody who thrives in chaos. And I almost feel like the change for you is not necessarily, it's fun. Maybe you've been knocking on a lot of doors and considering a lot of different things here with this Eris. And now it's time to actually cross that threshold and be who you truly are and your authentic self. Because the Eris and the Fool would suggest that you like to start new things. And maybe this is like the difference between like a job and a career, or like renting or buying a house. Like, I lived here and I lived here and I lived here and I lived here, and now it's time to take that next step up, that next level up. Whether that be with a promotion in your company, whether that be buying a house, and that commitment. I kind of feel like you will miss, you think that you're going to miss other opportunities taking this beautiful step. So just look at that, realize that in yourself, and you know, I think when we recognize the negative emotions or the negative things that we have, thoughts that we have tied to something, that then we can really fully enjoy the positives of it. Because I just feel like, you know, we've got 2 10s here, we've got this enter, we've got this, it's level up time, group 1. Even though you have, you know, you have all of the ingredients, you have everything that you need, it's time to now put it to use for you. So that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope that this was helpful. Thank you. Hello, group 2. This is our water group. I kind of realized after I put the groups together that we did this, or I did this in a very elemental kind of way. That the first one was fire, your water, next one is earth, and then we've got air energy. So, and that is with, of course, the colors, but this is also Caribbean Calcite, which is a very strong stone for removing energy blockages and for allowing the positive flow of positive vibrations, positive energies that kind of go in with the flow energy that we're looking for, especially when we're talking about the element of water, when we're talking about our intuition, when we're talking about emotions. When we talk about emotions, you know, sometimes it can be difficult because, of course, we have negative emotions and that's not fun to go through those, but we do need to allow those to flow because we all have negative emotions and we need to listen to them, and they teach us something and it helps direct us. And working with Caribbean Calcite can help us realize what those emotions are about. Sometimes we have some very, you know, we find ourselves in a spot where we're very uncomfortable, whether that's at your job or in a relationship, or maybe it's where you live even. And those emotions are telling you something and they're trying to get you to move in a direction. Sometimes you're leaving the situation, sometimes you're enforcing boundaries, sometimes you're letting people know that this is not how you want to be treated. And it usually starts with your emotions to let you know that there's something wrong. Caribbean Calcite stimulates your mind and it improves your memory. And then during meditation, it helps us to let go of the things that happened in the past. And I feel like that is very important and very key to move forward and to move out of very negative situations. I think we have all had a situation where we have needed closure, had been attached to somebody. Maybe it was even a job, but usually it's a romantic partner, a romantic situation, and it's our emotions that kind of keep us attached to that person. We have to figure out a way to help our mind and our heart to release, and sometimes it's because we've suppressed emotions that it comes up later. Sometimes it's because we haven't dealt with it and we haven't learned how to deal with it. So let's talk about you though. Let's talk about some more attributes that make you attractive. First of all, I want to say that, you know, picking this group, I think that it's a, you know, your emotions are important. Your intuition is important to you, that it is key. That's why I spent some time talking about Caribbean Calcite and dealing with emotions and the vibrations that you're putting out. Having Visionary and Angel here, I feel like, you know, you're somebody, especially when emotions vibrate. I think that they can vibrate very loudly. We need to focus on the positive with you for sure, because you have the capacity, like your energy, to be very healing, to be very powerful for other people. So when it's in the negative though, I mean, you can have the capacity to bring other people down. So I feel like it's important for you, if you don't do this already, if you haven't realized this already with your emotions, to, of course, we want to feel them, we want that to flow, but we don't want that negativity stuck. And we also don't want it to spill out, spill over, affect other people in a very negative way. Use your emotions and your emotional guidance in the way that it's intended rather than in a destructive way. Visionary capacity to envision what is not yet conceived to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. The shadow attributes would be selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. And I feel like that might be, you know, part of that is with the collaborative process. Sometimes we punish ourselves when we have an idea for a project and then the execution of it. I kind of feel like that the shadow attributes though here are a little amiss, because I think you have big visions. I think you have high expectations, especially for yourself. And, you know, we just have only so much time. And let's take, for example, if you're going to be a YouTuber and you're going to put out YouTube videos. I think with the visionary and you're not compromising your vision could keep you in that state of production forever. You never release anything. So I kind of feel like the shadow attributes are a little off on this visionary. However, the quote from Steve Jobs kind of comes up, and I'm gonna have to paraphrase this, but you know, he's the one who is the visionary behind Apple, and his vision, or what he said, is like, his market research is he shows people what they want rather than like kind of listens to what people want. He shows them what they want. I feel like somebody in marketing, somebody in design, more of the very creative piece here with the visionary for you. And then angel, helping others in need with no expectations of return. Those shadow attributes, acting innocent or angelic to mislead others, falsely claiming to be in touch with angelic guidance. I'm not going to focus too much on these negative attributes, because we're really talking about you and the positivity here, but I do want to tell you what these say. So if something like that resonates, I'm sure we all do know somebody who acts innocent to mislead others. I think you would be somebody who could ferret that out though. I think that you have, because you have that internal guidance, you have that intuition, you have that very strong intuition where you can see when somebody is not presenting their best self for the best of others, we'll say. Okay, so we have, these are fun cards too, by the way. I'm glad you picked them. So we've got Justice. You know, I feel like with Angel and Justice, of course, you know, you have this strong sense of what is right and what is wrong, a strong sense of balance. Justice is related to Libra, so you might be a Libra, but that is, you know, that's not necessary here. Justice is blind, but not really. Justice sees all. And I feel like you might be the person that like your friends come to when they're like, hey, help us settle a bet. What do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? I think, you know, the visionary and the justice and the angel are so powerful together, because let's say Steve Jobs, for example, as a visionary, undeniable genius, right? But he wasn't a very good person at all. And I don't think that, I think that you have a leg up on him with that, with the angel and the justice. I feel like you want to help others, to be of service to others. I think though, the hermit here is interesting. I would expect, well, first of all, the hermit suggests that you know, when it's in reverse, it suggests that you work with others people. And so with the 10 of coins, right? you're good with other people, you're good with your family, you work with others, that kind of thing. But the Hermit is also somebody who leads the way for others. So the Visionary, of course, leads the way. I think the difference here, and I think the reason why your Hermit is reversed, is because I don't think that you always take credit for the way that you're leading other people. I don't want to say you're somebody who leads from behind, but I feel like you're somebody who gives gentle guidance, or you may plant ideas and help people I really feel like there's a connection with other people here. It's not like, hey, this is the way, everyone, go that way, trust me, you know, and then you trot off, and then whoever follows you. It's more of you as a part of the team, and you're not necessarily the leader, but you're somebody who is respected. And you might not even be somebody who pipes up with ideas all at once. It might be because you need to contemplate them and think them over. I think that there's a deep thinking element here. I feel like you consult, when you think, you also consult your intuition and your emotions. Like, there is a very weight to the energy that you put into a problem or a solution. And I think that people see that. I think it pays off for you. I think it pays off for the people around you. I think people see it in a very positive way. And I think that makes you more approachable. And I think that's the difference between just being a visionary, or being a visionary with the Angel and the Justice with it. That you're very collaborative. I think you also have a very big, high level of patience with other people, because I think that you really genuinely enjoy others, you enjoy their company, you like to be with them, and you like that experience. You like just a really fun, there's also very subtlety, just a flow and a subtlety here to the vibes. 9 of Wands, and we have it in reverse. See this little panda bear, and he's got bandages. He's got bandages because he's been fighting the good fight, and he's been getting beat up. And I think it's in reverse here for you, because I don't think you're somebody who is going to have like Twitter fights. I don't think you're somebody who is going to be out there with a lot of people, you know, be out there in the spotlight, be out there on that hill, be out there protecting any specific thing, and have other people angry or emotionally charged or coming at you. That's not your vibe at all. Your vibe is more of the kind of agree to disagree. You don't believe me, or you don't agree with that, that's fine. That's okay. We can both exist. I think you're somebody who might have friends from a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different political persuasions. I think you're somebody who people feel safe with. I'm just gonna get some more cards. I have a couple decks, and this one was hidden under the other. What else can you tell me about group 2? Okay. We have Destiny, and we've got Envy. Interesting that we have Envy. I think that, you know, you might attract a certain amount of people who are envious of you, but again, I just think that it's not, you're not trying to have people be envious of you. And I think there are, and I think that you would be surprised to find that. Destiny, I'm not surprised to see this card here at all. And under Visionary, I think you're somebody who can create their own future, can create their own But I feel like you want to bring other people with you. I feel like you have this beautiful, and it's funny that we have envy over here, because I don't think it's something that you put in people's faces. But there is going to be a certain amount of haters who see the beautiful things that you've created, and you've put work into it, you've put thought into it, you've put your emotions into it, which is a lot of work. And you create these wonderful and beautiful things, and then you get a little bit of envy over here. So I would just, for you, be cautious of the envy that you attract, and realize that don't let it throw you off, is what I'm saying. Don't do things to appease the people who are envious of you. Of course, because I kind of feel like with the 9 of Wands over here, that's not what you want. You're not trying to make people jealous. In fact, you want them to be along for the ride, and you're trying to be inclusive in that way. This is something for them to deal with, and them coming in contact with you is part of their own journey. I think they see this visionary aspect of you. They might call you out and question you because they may not have ever met anybody like you who is so like forward thinking and intelligent, but then also kind behind it. There really is a heart here with you, so give them love. When you see that, just like, hey, I'm sorry you've never encountered anybody like me, and maybe you don't believe that, and that is okay. But I'm here, and I will always be here, and I'm sending you love, and maybe you don't even need to tell them. In fact, you probably just give them the love vibes behind their back, because they may not react well, and hope that they can deal with it. Wow, Realm of the Fae. I say wow because magical, and really enforces this idea of the destiny and the visionary, and like you creating magic in your life. Realm of the Fae. Okay, so Fae, the fairies, they're creatures who live in the forests, in the nature, and outside. This can either be a reminder that you should spend more time outside. I feel like having that connection, that grounding with the earth and the world around us, that it helps us, especially emotionally, especially with our emotions, especially with our intuition. So either you are very connected with the earth, or it's a reminder to stay connected with the earth. And I think a lot of times, unfortunately, it's a reminder to go and dip your toes in the grass or in the creek. Spend some time and get that grounding. Our bodies we have so many chemical processes that happen in our bodies naturally. I'm not talking about, the things that we ingest. Like, our bodies are very complex, and we do need that grounding, like in a very physical way. I'm not talking metaphysical here. I'm talking like, we do need to ground our bodies. We do need to go and touch some dirt and release that excess electricity that has been building up in our bodies. When you think about your house, like, your house is grounded. There is a metal spike that they put in the ground, and they ground all the electrical outlets so that electricity doesn't build up in your house and cause issues. That happens in your body as well, and we just never think of that. And there's so many things in the way, and I feel like I'm going off on a tangent here, but I feel like it's really needed. There's so many things in the way of our modern society that we are just out of touch with Earth, and we are not grounded. So I feel like this part of your reading, and I think it's part of your essence and your soul. And if you do want to connect with the Fae, the wild Fae, bring them gifts. They like gifts. So that's what I have for you, Group 2. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for being here with me, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, group 3. This is our Earth group. Our tarot deck is Ethereal Visions, and then the stone here is Jade, Nephrite Jade. So this stone is like one of the oldest crystals. Well, I mean, they're all old, but the oldest ones that we know of. It was discovered 7,000 years ago. It is said to have healing properties, especially for kidneys. The Chinese first discovered it, and they discovered it in rock that was kidney shaped. So that's why they believe it helps the kidneys, and it has healing properties. Nephrite Jade keeps the body safe from damaging effects of external sources and soothes our nervous system. It can also bring strength and healing to the immune system, whilst bringing your body into a more alkaline state of being. So that is the healing properties of this stone. Because of the green color, and so I'm saying this is our earth energy deck. And let's get some more cards out here. Interesting, Monk, Nun. These are archetype cards. So we're going to work with some archetypes. Wow, okay. Some of the archetypes are interesting. As you can tell, we've got Monk, Nun, and we've got Bully. So Monk, Nun is selfless devotion and single-minded dedication of spirit. The shadow attributes would be negative judgment of the physical world, excessive piety. It's interesting that I'm calling this the Earth deck, and then we've got excessive judgment of the physical world, because the monk and the nun spend so much time with spirit, with God, with and you don't have to believe in that maybe your faith doesn't have like this particular religious iconography. That's fine, but you can be very spiritual, believing in your connection to that higher power, and I think there is a huge element of grounding yourself as being really important, and being dedicated and open to the experiences that we are having here in Classroom Earth. But I think that when we have this perspective, this higher perspective, when you are a person of faith, whatever faith that is, you can be whatever faith you want to be. And at the end of the day, when you boil everything down, they're very closely related, like very closely related. I don't know why we argue over them so much. But I mean, the bully in you might have some things to say about that. So highlights your tendency to intimidate others and helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. The shadow aspect here is conceals deep fears behind verbal and physical abuse. Honestly, I feel like we all have a tendency to have this bullying energy. And I think that with both of these here, that you have spent some time working with that dark shadow side and incorporating it, realizing that we all have like this capacity. See, like if this monk and nun were here without this bully, I would actually think less of you, to be honest, because we have this bright, beautiful side to us, and humanity has this bright, beautiful side to us, but as above, so below, we also know that we've got this really side to us that wants to be controlling of others, and that's the very egocentric side. That's the very trapped in the 3D side. But when we merge them together, that's when we start seeing some real beauty here. Remember, I was talking about the monk and the nun, the selfless devotion, the single-minded dedication to spirit. I'm not sure that it's necessarily single-minded, but what makes you so beautiful is, I think, your perspective of the world, of being a higher thinker, understanding that there is more to the physical. And I feel like that enhances your physical experience here in Classroom Earth. That enhances, you know, there are a lot of people who believe in reincarnation. And I feel like, I like the belief of it, because when we have one experience after another, I like the idea because it makes, you know, it really expands our idea of what's possible. Really it makes us like well-rounded. I think that, you know, in one lifetime we can experience one thing and then another and then another, and we just, because I think that learning is really important to you at a core level. I think that experiences are important to you at a core level, and I feel like you just want to soak up. I'm getting this feeling of soaking up and experiencing everything and doing it over again. And I know that there are a lot of people who do believe in reincarnation, who do believe in the idea. I'm getting like a very starseed vibe here. I'm getting a very light worker vibe here for you for group 3. So if this is going off the deep end for you, maybe you should select another pile, because this is very big starseed energy for me here in group 3. And it's interesting that it's the ground level. It's interesting that it's the earth level, because it's kind of like, well, but this lifetime of yours is all about the experiences, is all about the earthly experiences, the physical experiences, and using your body that you don't always have. That, because the monk and nun here, you recognize having our soul, you recognize being made more, like you are more than the sum of your parts. Your soul is eternal. Ooh. Four of Wands. Okay, so when I said ooh, that's the Ten of Swords reversed. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a Pentacle card here with the Seven of Pentacles. And this guy with the Queen of Cups. So there is a lot of love that you have for not only yourself, but for humanity. And for the experiences. You're here for the LOLs, you're here for the joy, and you're working hard at that. Hard worker. You understand like that big picture with the Seven of Pentacles, that you have to put in some work here, and then you are an observer of a lot of things, an observer of watching it grow. I'm gonna have to change out my battery. The Ten of Swords suggests some pain, and I think it's interesting because we had another group, I think it was group 1, who had the Ten of Swords come out. You have it in reverse. The Ten of Swords talks about, I think we can all relate to physical pain. I think we can all relate to maybe our own expectations that hurt us, maybe societal expectations that hurt us. I feel like you're somebody who has gone through a lot. And again, I do feel like there's connections to in other lifetimes here. And I'm not necessarily, maybe you are making things right. Maybe you are somebody who's healing ancestral pains, ancestral things that have gone on in your ancestry, as well as, you know, not necessarily your past life, but in the ancestry of your lineage. Whether that be ideas that were damaging to your family, and you are healing that for your future generations. I'm getting a sense here of, this is a quote that I use a lot because I love it, and I use it when it comes up. It's not like I throw it out there randomly, but I'm getting the quote from Mother Teresa where she said, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And I feel like there's a huge, well, I mean, she was a nun. So I feel like there's a huge connection here between you and wanting to heal through love. Basically because of the Four of Wands and then the Queen of Cups, but also, you know, I just, because it's coming up. Four of Wands, I feel like because of the harm, because of all of the hurt that you've gone through, because of all of the, you know, stabs in the back, all of this energy that you've endured and that you have healed from, you want to protect others. I really see you as like this person. I don't know what this ornamental thing here is really supposed to be, but to me at this moment I'm seeing it as wings and kind of shielding others, shielding your community, shielding your family, being that guiding light, being that love for others. 4 is a number of stability. Wands is about creativity, is about love. I mean, when we are in kind of a fight or flight mode, when we are in a survival mode, it's really difficult to be creative. When we don't feel stable, we can't create. When we're looking for food, we're not thinking of creating love or creating beauty or painting or whatever that expression is, writing, whatever that expression of creation is to you. But it is so vital to society. Like I really see like definitely a higher level purpose here for you other than just a normal person out there living their life. Okay, so that's interesting, group 3. But as above, so below. And then there's that also with what is it? Carry water, chop wood and carry water. Like what is it that's you're gonna do once you've become enlightened? Carry wood and chop water. There's a story of a monk who goes to a monastery. Like this kid goes to a monastery, he wants to become a monk, and the monks have him doing all of the menial tasks, or doing the menial tasks of scrubbing the floor and chopping wood and carrying water, and the monks are meditating, but they're doing these chores along with him, but they are in deep meditation and they're said to have reached enlightenment, and he wants that enlightenment, and he asks them like, well, what happens? Like he's looking for some sort of change in himself once he reaches that enlightenment. And he's like, well, what happens once you reach enlightenment? Well, what do I do once I reach enlightenment? And they're like, carry water and chop wood. You know, you still have the physical things that you need to do. And it's part of your learning. I think that this is a missing piece for a lot of people who want to be, or I don't want to say want to be spiritual, who are very spiritual, but when they feel like there's a hole in their spirituality, when they feel like they're missing something, or they need to grow, or I'm not progressing enough, I feel like they miss out on the physical. And I feel like the monk, and that's why it's so interesting that this is the Earth group, comes out with the monk and the nun, and really that devotion to the spiritual realm, to like the cerebral, to like that crown chakra, but yet we have the very physical piece here of you getting your hands dirty and being grounded and being there and being here. Like the point of this journey is showing up and being here. And you don't I feel like there's a lot of meditation that's missed, that we don't do, or we don't appreciate, we don't recognize, or we don't even attempt or try, that is within physical activity. Because I feel like there's a very real physical activity here. I mean, you don't go to the gym and look at the biggest muscle-bound guy and think of him as being very spiritual. But I think there's a huge component to spirituality that includes, you know, our body is a temple. I think that's really important. And that is a huge message here. And then we have the Queen of Cups, who is absolutely amazing and beautiful. She is a creator with emotions though, a creator with her intuition, and she just radiates love. And I really do feel like this radiation of love from you to other people, this desire to protect others, this desire to heal. Like this is such a healing stone, and I feel like you selected it to embody it because you yourself are a healer. Shindu. Can we see that? Yeah. I'm gonna get one more card, and then I will tell you what they mean. There's two here. Foaming and then sunflowers. So we're going to take both of those. All right, so this Shindu, what is up with the Shindu? I'm putting an N in there. There's not an N. We have this beautiful and elegant cat with a third eye and wings. So Shadu, correct me, but you know, you can just correct me by writing it, and then it's all text, so I still don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, Shadu represents a strength from within. It's not a loud in your face strength, and with just very quiet. Again, we get this protection, the observer, the love. The bully would be the in your face strength, but I feel like the bully is that shadow self that you've overcome and that you have recognized, that you have grown past, that you recognize that in your human self. And now your strength is calm and quiet. It's grace under fire, it's grace under pressure. It's very kind of almost diamond-ish, because you have applied a lot of pressure, or a lot of pressure has been applied to you, and now you are a diamond. You have been forged like that steel you're forged like steel. Whatever is trying to break you will not. It's not breaking you. It's creating you. It's forming you, and you are now stronger than you know. So then we've got this foaming and the sunflower. The foaming is interesting because it can talk about anger. It can talk about, and maybe it's unexpressed anger. It's the anger that we have kind of suppressed. I do really feel like that is very, because like look at the foaming and the bully here. Negative emotion can be very, very powerful if we allow it to help push us in a positive way. And it's interesting that foaming comes out with sunflower, because it talks about this anger that maybe you aren't even really speaking the anger, and maybe sometimes you feel like you can't express it. I think the healthiest way to express it is through love, and through maybe this symbol of the sunflower, which is adoration and affection. I feel like if you get negative feedback from somebody, sending them love is the biggest flex. And you are the sunflower. Don't forget to show yourself how much you love yourself by staying motivated and goal-oriented. I feel like anger can sometimes, anger is a great emotion, but it's one of those that can take us in a very dark place, can take us in a very negative space. And I feel like you know that with overcoming this bully shadow side. You are the sunlight in a sea of darkness. You are powerful and strong. Stand tall and shine, just like a bright sunflower. And I feel like that's important for you to remember. Sometimes we forget how powerful we are. One more card and I will send you on your way, group 3. The light in the world that we very sorely need right now. I hope a lot of people picked group 3 because you are exactly what we need, even if you are in seclusion. I just think that it's really important for you to use seclusion wisely. I feel like because of your strength that it is important to ground. It's important to cleanse. It's important to get in touch, back in touch with yourself. I feel like you're somebody, again, with the Ten of Swords here, and I was talking about when you are the shield for everybody else around you, that can be tiring and that can wear you down, and you need to, and the Seven of Pentacles too is like this work, 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 work. And the Queen of Cups, this love, and the sunflower who stands out, and just all of this stuff. Like, you need to make sure that you put boundaries around yourself, that you have a sacred space for just you, maybe your partner, maybe loved ones as well, but you need a space for yourself where you can just be and calm and regenerate. Regeneration is important. I mean, the sunflower doesn't grow all year round. It only grows at a certain time. So allow yourself that time to recharge, because you can't pour from an empty cup, and no one is receiving the benefits of who you are and what you put out into the world when you are worn down, when you are frazzled. So I feel like that's why the seclusion card is coming out here. It's interesting, you know, this touch of nature is interesting. We also have the flowers here. Your seclusion might also include other sunflowers, other, you know, like recognizes like, other like-minded people, and that I also feel like it's important to tell you that you're not alone and you're not the only person here. And I said, I hope that there's a lot of group 3s here. I think it's really important, and I don't think that you're the only person, okay? So connect with other like people here who are putting out this beautiful, vibrant energy and protecting others. So that's what I have for you, group 3. I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for being here with me, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, group 4. So I am calling this our air energy group, and this is Septarian Nodule. So Septarian Nodule is a sedimentary stone. It is actually, it's petrified mud bubbles is what it is, and it has this scaly look because if you've ever seen, you know, dried up mud, that's what it looks like, but then the spaces in between sedimentary, so they filled up with crystals over time. The famous ones come from Utah and Madagascar, and the spiritual healing properties of this is pretty interesting. I feel like it is very connected to air energy because it's a stone that protects us. First of all, I mean, the air was trapped in the mud bubbles. I mean, there's air in bubbles, so that's important. So it's interesting that it manifests in this way. But then it's said to protect us during astral travel. So if that's something that you're interested in, it's where our soul leaves our body, so out-of-body experiences, astral projection, where we astral travel or astral move, and vivid dreams? I am saying that wrong, but where we have dreams, but we're dreaming, but we're not dreaming because we're kind of controlling the dream. This, you know, obviously those are kind of scary and things can go wrong. So this stone is supposed to help us during those times. It reminds us that we are each born with a great spiritual power inside us, and that we have the responsibility to use that power and shine our light onto this world. It's a shaman stone, and it helps us to find our true self and better understand the mysteries of the world. So, you know, no pressure here. I also love that it is said to teach us that the most sacred actions are those in which love and courage are linked. So very beautiful, very interesting. We'll get to these cards here in just a second. I'm going to pull some attribute cards. I have several decks we're going to be working with. And let's get some attribute cards for our group number 4. What makes them so attractive? Father and, oh, interesting, Virgin. So the attributes, we're paying more attention to both of these, because you could be like neither a father or a virgin, but it's the qualities, it's the archetype that we're really looking for. And with the Virgin, it's maintaining the symbolic purity of heart and spirit. It's the heart and that spirit. And I feel like it's really related to what we were talking about with that Septarian nodule, about linking like our heart with our courage, and really being working with or walking with integrity. The Father here, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. So it's providing that guidance for others. Maybe it's even fighting for others, being that shield for others, creating for others. And I'm sorry if you haven't had like the best experience with your father, but this archetype is the father at his best. And sometimes, unfortunately, you know, our parents either teach us how to be parents through how good they were at being parents, or how they weren't good at being parents. Now, please remember, we are all humans having like this human experience, and that none of us are perfect. And as a parent, you start to realize how difficult it is to be a parent. But we can still, you know, strive to be the best. We can still strive to work with integrity or walk with integrity. We get the Magician. I was just looking because I didn't think I wanted all of these to come out upright. 4 of coins and 2 of coins, and then we've got the 10 of wands. Okay, so I warned you, these are the Garbage Pail Kids deck, and some things are going to be a little funky in them, and that's okay. I feel like the symbolism is then really vibrant and open. I love the Magician here. First of all, it's a major arcana card. It is about creating, it is about manifesting, it is about taking all of the available things that you have. I'm sorry, it's raining really hard right now outside, which I love the rain. But anyway, back to this card, but that's the noise you hear anyway. It's taking all of the things that you have available to you and just really creating things. You might be a do-it-yourselfer. You might be somebody who comes across, like, you're walking through Home Depot and you see an item and you're like, I can make that better. Or the dollar store. I know, man, there's some people who go through the dollar store and they just really create some beautiful things, and I think you are on par with that. Whether that be for fun in like that creative vibe where you're doing it as an expression of yourself, as an expression of your creativity, or you are, because I feel like that's essential. I feel like it's essential for you to create things for yourself. We've got 2 coins cards here, so I feel like it is part of your job as well. If it's not part of your job, it should be, and I feel like you would be very successful at it. Now, at the very like basic level, you're pulling things from the dollar store, let's say. At a very higher level, like a design engineer who sees a piece of sheet metal and then figures out how to bend it and shape it and make something out of it. But this is a gift here, the magician. It's not something that everybody has. It's not something that everybody can do. However, I feel like it's not. I feel like that it's an innate. It's like a gift of yours. I feel like you can sharpen that gift. You can make it better. You can be inspired by others, and I think that when I say that's not something everybody can do, not easily. Everybody can practice it, but you're exceptionally good at it. You're exceptionally good at being this magician and making creations and creating things. It's interesting that he kind of popped out in reverse. I looked at the deck because I was like, I didn't shuffle these in reverse. I wanted everything to come out upright for this deck. That's how I wanted to work with it. That's how I felt I should work with it. But when the magician comes out in reverse, I almost feel like you might be a little bit too hard on yourself at times. I feel like you have a high degree of professionalism, but perfectionism. And sometimes when things don't come out to your vision, or you don't have enough time to create your vision, you might go into a little bit of a tailspin, thinking, you know, that you're not good enough. There's a word for this that's escaping me at the moment. Oh gosh, what is that? I'll come back to it, hopefully. But you are very capable. You're a very capable person. This is not the only card that says that. I really feel like coupling it with your integrity, coupling it with this father attribute, like that is just beautiful and amazing. Then we have the 4 of coins, and then we have the 2 of coins. I almost feel like the 4 of coins is a little bit related to you holding back because maybe you don't feel like some of the things that you do is good enough. It might be that you're comparing yourself to others who are in a very different journey and who are doing very different things. The world it very much needs you, and it needs you to be you and to be your authentic self. You don't need to try to impersonate other people. You are the best version of you being yourself here. And I almost feel like that's why we've got the 10 of Wands over here, is carrying expectation, carrying that weight of expectation of yourself and others. And I feel like it's time to set some of that down. You're very you're very, very capable, and that's why you have picked up so much stuff. But we have the 2 of coins, and we need to figure out how to balance everything. You are amazing. You're an amazing juggler. I think that you can pick up so many things, and you do, and you have this, you know, just because I almost feel like you're so good at so many things that you pick them up, that you don't allow others to maybe do their job. So if you're at work and you're feeling like you're exhausted, you need to trust other people. Maybe if there's a weakness in here, it's maybe trusting others. And I think it's really difficult for a father figure, especially when you have this fatherly energy, and you have other people around you. You have to like start letting them pick up their own responsibility. You have to like start letting other people grow. You can't, and it's detrimental and it's hard on you. Picking up and carrying the weight of the world, picking up and carrying other people. You might show others how you want, if you're in that particular frame of responsibility, how you want something done, how you think something should be done. But you have to trust that other people can handle it as well. And I think they will surprise you. I think that, I mean, the whole purpose, there's this father here with the son on his lap. The whole purpose is to really see other people around you to excel. And I think it will be a positive for you, because even though you can handle it, it's not really a question of you being able to handle it. You need to allow others to be able to handle it as well, handle their job. We're gonna get 2 more cards here, and we get palmistry. That's interesting. And then we get dragon. I'm not surprised to see the dragon here. Palmistry represents our past, present, and future. It's interesting over here, even next to this magician, because first of all, look at all the things that you can create with your hands. And again, that the magician has the capability of putting together so many different things. And then the palmistry, this is past, present, and future, but I think the there's my hand next to it. The emphasis is working with your hands and your abilities to do things with your hands and seemingly create things out of nothing with your hands. Palmistry, again, I said it talks about past, present, and future, like that's the meaning of it in this deck. It might be powerful for you to write a letter to your future self, to your past self, but I feel like with it's right next to the magician is almost when we don't really fully understand something that we're working on right now, it is almost, you know, connecting with that future self of ours, or pulling in that future self that has that understanding of it, and really, you know, just this whole mystical idea of, and it may not even be your future self, it might be yourself of another realm and dimension. It might be your metaverse. Is it the metaverse self? It might be yourself of another reality, and channeling that self in and allowing that self in to really create something that you might be struggling with in this reality. I hope that makes sense for you. But the palmistry, like we've got the 4 elements up there, we've got the different signs here, we've got it, and it's just showing like what is all involved in your hand, and your hand is pretty magnificent, and this thumb is no slouch. Like this thumb is the reason a lot of times that, what is it, like, is it biologists? People who study these things, like, why is it that we as these primates basically have evolved the way that we have? And the thumb is a huge piece of that. Using tools, a huge piece of that. And you have really mastered that skill. And even though, like, when we say humans are so much more advanced than other animals in using tools and using our skills and seeing the different things around us and how we can use them. Like, you are so much more advanced than the people around you in the use of tools and in the skill and the craftsmanship that you have with working with your hands and manifesting things and bringing them into your reality. So, wow. And then I said I wasn't surprised to see the dragon here. I really shouldn't be surprised to see the palmistry here either, and what I just said about that. But the dragon represents determination and will, and it is, you know, overcoming obstacles. It's seeing obstacles as opportunities and really pushing through and creating new things. And I feel like that's kind of like the Ten of Wands, when I was like, just be careful, don't get burnt out. Remember, you're teaching others to do what you're doing. Let them do their job. We can't do everything. You know, your experience is like, yeah, but I can. I can. Watch me, and I will make it happen because I'm a dragon here. And if you're thinking about giving up, don't. Hang on, hang in there. That's what the dragon is talking about. And the Ten of Wands. But I'm saying that it might behoove you to put some things down, let other people take up responsibilities, and you're telling me, I can handle it. I'm not saying you can't handle it. You can handle it. I'm just saying, like, you might be a better person if you trust me. But we have trust. This is really interesting. This, just look at how pretty this is with trust. We've got this person that it looks like she's flying off a cliff, and whether she's trusting that she can reach him, there's almost like an element here going on of magic, that he is going to save her. Maybe she's going to save herself by having that ability to just leap a little bit to him, but the trust, that leap of faith. I don't know if you really need to see this trust. I feel like you really, you know, once we had the palm, I mean, the Magician came out in reverse, and at that time I was like, oh, okay, we need to pep talk, and we need to get there. But then the palmistry and the dragon came out, and I'm like, I don't know. I think you do trust in yourself, or maybe you go back and forth between it. And you are very magical here, Group 4. You're pretty amazing. You're very skilled. Again, you have that ability to just really create and see things in a way that the rest of the world or people around you don't necessarily do that. But I do feel like you teach others that. I do feel like, especially with the Father here, and the Ten of Wands is saying, like, hey, let other people jump up into that responsibility and help you. Let me just hold up, not necessarily to talk about them, but look at how cool these cards are. I think they're cool, the Garbage Pail Kids, and I think if you picked them, you probably like them as well. I just think that they're very interesting cards. So that's all I have for you. I just wanted to show you the cards, and I hope that you have an amazing day. Thanks so much for being with me, my lovely dragon, and I hope to see you in other readings. Thank you.